We're joined now by Tim LaComb, Utah Jazz analyst for SEG Media. I'm not going to give you the answer. Here's the question of the day, and then we'll tell you what PK and I said later. Jazz have 20 games left now, Timmy. How many of them are they going to win? Tim does not want to answer the question.
I can't hear him.
Seems to be a constant with our interviews.
Okay, I'm back. Hello.
Did you mute yourself?
With my cheek.
I've done that. That's kind of...
Which cheek?
Hey now. Hey-o.
No, you got left or right.
Yeah, I knew what you were going to say to save it, but that was good. That's well played.
Hey, you sit this one out. No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
So there are 20 games left, 13
Yes.
against playoff teams, if my numbers are right. 3?
There it is.
3.
Okay, but how many do you think they could win?
As presently constituted?
Yeah.
Using it for an example,
games.
they could have won in Philly. They didn't. They gave up a 12-2 run to close the game, but they could have. Had the lead with 4 minutes
and the
ago.
refs gave 47 free throws to Denver in the fourth quarter.
The referees really came through for Utah in the fourth quarter of that one. That was a clutch performance.
They were actually on our side that night.
I'd fine them $500,000.
I would do that just for them showing up, and then we'd go from there. Let me try to think about this.
$500,000 entry fee.
You make a great point. I mean, they played Denver great. They played Philly great. But how many could they win? Oh, 6.
6.
I do believe there are times, and maybe there's stuff going on I don't know about, but I look at the lineup on the floor and I think, yeah, this lineup's not an accident, and this lineup's not very good. Or this lineup has, even if the players are okay, the mismatches are not good. Not good. This lineup, these guys can play hard. They're too short. They're too young.
So you think the coach is playing to lose?
No, he's giving guys experience, PK. Don't get him fined another $500,000.
So you think the coach is playing to lose?
I think it's crossed his mind, yes. Or he's been told to play some of these lineups together. But yes. The lineups are played with the intention of losing, regardless of who's deciding what. They're well aware of what's going to happen if they put that lineup on the floor. I'll just say that they are well aware.
But at the same time, I feel like they, like the Denver game, and we talked about this the other night. The scheme for that game was incredible, and everybody bought into it, and they executed it to perfection. I mean. He's leading. He's being Jokic, the great polar bear from Denver, is leading the NBA with 100 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did is they stuck the guy right in his lap in the high post, regardless of where he was, or to actually use the culture of this show, irregardless of where he was.
Nice.
They made it really difficult for him to touch. So his touches were down, and he was not able to facilitate as well. And last night, they did a really nice job with Maxey, who was the only major Philly player out there last night. And they did a great job at doubling him, whether it be in the front court or the back court, to make him give it up. So my idea of like a pre-training training camp is kind of what we're seeing. And it's awesome. It's actually been really cool for the coaching staff to experiment some. And to your point, they've had some success. But I think the reason is because regardless of who they have out there, they're playing pretty connected and they're playing hard.
Right. So with that in mind, that gives them a chance to win. So the point we were making is I'm still nervous that they can win too many games. And I know they can slant it and fix it so that doesn't happen. But at the same time, when Flipper is shooting a 3 to win the game and that ball's in the air, I'm saying a silent prayer, please don't go in. And
I feel that.
They were up 100-94 against the Sixers.
4.5 minutes ago in the game.
I'm thinking, uh-oh. And you got to get this pick, man. You got to. And until it's actually secured, I have a level of nervousness because I believe in George, who can not necessarily will his team to win, but play well enough a fair amount of time that they can win.
And I feel that. I mean, our production staff, Jamil and the broadcast assistants, they cheer like they're gonna, like it's Game 7. Every single night they think this is the one we're gonna win. And I keep kind of going in there saying, you guys know what they're trying to, you know what this part of the season's like. But it's a credit to the dudes that are out there because they are playing hard. They're playing together. To your point, PK, I think too much has gone on. I think there's too many quote-unquote adults in the room running things that I don't think we'll get. We're not going to get in the danger zone that way. This is akin to maybe taking one step too close to a cliff, which isn't always great. But I do believe the Jazz understand what this part of the season is about, and they'll play to that. And they will get – this pick will be here in Salt Lake, and then we can put all this stuff behind us.
I think what I'm seeing with the lineups is probably actually someone saying, hey, I was driving in this morning. I was listening to PK. He made some sense. We should do this. Because I think what's happening with the lineups is they're force-feeding some of these young guys to see what they have, how they project them going forward. And just to pick on one guy, because that's always your favorite thing for me to do, but they got to see what they have in Cody Williams, right? He's way better than he was last year, but what's his role going forward? And sometimes they see lineups out there. It's like he's got to go against a bigger, stronger veteran guy. Well, if they're going to find out if he can do it, to PK's point a couple weeks ago, we'll put him out there and see if he can do it. And if he can't do it, which he probably can't at this point, how close can he come to doing it? And if you do it every week, 3-4 times a week, whatever they're playing, you can see if he gets better at it and is making progress, and then you can kind of project his progress forward. So as much as people are saying they're tanking, okay, well, we all get that, but they are trying to learn something while they do this. But also I see these lineups and I think, okay, well, they'll see if Cody can play some fourth quarter minutes here, but I kind of have an idea how this is going to go.
Yeah, and Cody's one of many that are working on different things. I mean, Bryce is his defense, and, last night Bryce couldn't make a shot. He was 0 for 6 from 3, didn't find much of a rhythm, which speaks to, Bryce has gotten used to playing with guys who require defensive coverage, and really Bryce has been one of the guys who's benefited with Lowry being out there, with and Key being out there. I mean, it's really you see the difference. Basically, you see the difference in shot quality for those guys, and so each and every one of those guys has something they're working on. They have the weaknesses kind of right in their face. And to go to Cody Williams, I mean, Cody's is a different dude at this point of the year than he was the first of the year and, of course, last year. And his biggest issue has been strength. And there's no way – well, there are ways, but they're not legal. There's no way to make that big jump fast in terms of your physical. And so I loved what he did in the offseason last year, and I fully expect him to do it again. And the fact that he's getting 8 rebounds in a game now, I mean, that's a big step. And it doesn't seem big because everybody's caught up with a result, and that's what the layperson is caught up with. They're caught up with the result. What I've been able to watch 82 times, or coming up at 82 times, 62 times so far this year, is a team that's well aware of where they are, who they are, what they need to become, and, they work hard to try to do that. So, within the context of the phrase tanking, I do believe the Jazz have done a great job at developing through this and giving every guy, a pretty blatant assessment of where they are, what they need to do. And then, it's been this major opportunity for guys to have minutes they maybe wouldn't get. And so there is a positive to all this stuff. I know we focus on fines and guys, manipulating the system. But the Jazz really, in the truest developmental sense, have done a great job of having this affect everybody on the roster.
Let's switch gears to college basketball. BYU 4-9 in the last 13, but the Aggies are also piling up some losses here recently. Is anybody in state going to win an NCAA tournament game, and where's the hope? What are you thinking? What are you seeing?
Well, right now, obviously, BYU's in a major major pickle. In a major funk, yeah, and that has nothing to do with Taylor Funk or
nice
or
Fred Funk.
or anything like that.
Jinx.
Or I was going to be really clever, but I couldn't find it. It's too early. But in terms of it's similar, they lost a really big piece. They lost their heart and soul. I feel like they lost a guy who, one of, if not maybe a couple of guys on that team that actually, when they look down and see BYU, it actually really means something to them. And really your glue. And so when you see that piece, how important that piece is, not just for the on-court stuff, but everything else. Major red alert, I guess, right now at BYU because of the way that they're being beat. You go back and look at games throughout the season, and they've been competitive. Even in the Arizona games where they were down, they made a major charge to get back. Right now, there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of backbone to what's going on the floor. I think the place you look for me is assists, and I know there's people saying, "Well, who's supposed to?" Well, Isaiah Collier found Oscar Tshiebwe a couple times last night, right under the basket. It's a point guard's job to not just think of themselves, but how do I get everybody else cooking? And my eyes about popped out of my head the other night when I looked at Rob Wright's line. 30-something minutes, 0 dadgum assists. And I just think that speaks to, I think everybody's trying to do their thing, and nobody's manning the front desk of the inn. I mean, there's no thought of this place. It's all about, if we're going to win, we got to win with me dribbling right and pulling up in a crowd to make a shot, as opposed to this concept of, no, let's go out there early, and with our defensive intensity, we'll do some things, put the game on its ear. We've got the best scorer in college basketball. We'll let that gravity toward him free up, other guys. And right now it just seems so isocentric and so, I don't know. It's just, there is not a concept necessarily a team. And I think that's what their biggest issue is right now.
Isocentric. You're speaking of offensively, but how about the defense, man, and the turnovers? The sloppy turnovers, the giveaway gifts that give the team free points is just driving me nuts. And I've had it.
Yeah, that's the toughness thing, right? It's particularly on the road. Really got to have some mindset and mettle. And, look, they had it at one point. I think I sat in that arena against Wisconsin early in the year and watched them just drub them. But if you go back and look at the way the ball moved and things like that, it was different. I think this team, particularly their stars, feel the pressure of having to cover up for Richie. And I think the only way you do that is you incorporate everybody and make everybody a threat. Those Jimmer teams, go back and look at those assists on that team, So I think offensively that's a huge issue. When you don't score or when the offense isn't going great, traditionally defense suffers. And yeah, the defensive. There was a play last night, and I think it's more confusion based because you got some new guys playing minutes. But there was an out of bounds play where two guys literally ran with the non-ball handler. Like they literally ran to chase a guy leaving the situation, left the ball for a wide open shot. And so there's some of that where I think it's straight confusion as well, because there's so many new guys out there trying to, this late in the season, contribute.
Yeah, that's why I would have hired Jimmer to coach this team.
Well, he's busy, bud. He works for 3-on-3.
Well, I want him working 5-on-5.
How do you put up with this every day, DJ?
I don't like to admit this, but it's kind of fun if it's not pointed at me all the time. I can absorb some of it.
Target.
I don't need to be all of it. No, I'm sitting here. I'm getting paid. I'm going to be the target. I get that. That's fine. It's funny.
DJ,
but
how
does
it
it mixed
feel
up
to
a
work
little
with
bit?
The Luka Doncic of morning radio in Salt Lake? It's petulant. handsome, misunderstood, but headstrong.
Out of shape.
Superstar.
Loves donuts.
No, he's in shape. This dude's in shape. This is PK.
Okay.
We did play golf once, and he beat me on my home court. So that was not good.
Yeah. Tim, we'll leave it right there for now. We appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the games, and we'll see how many of the final 20 the Jazz are able to win. But we'll circle your number 3. I had said 3 or 4, and PK's like, they're going to be in 7, 8, or 9 games. I'm nervous. I'm like, they'll find a way. They will find a way.
I knew LeBron and Luka would work because I've watched it with you two superstars. They're much different. You're the king.
Yes, he is.
Well, you're both the king.
Yeah, I thought that was a you.
You can't have 2 kings.
They can.
You cannot. 2 kings don't get you nothing. If I got 3 jacks, I win.
You don't know, Jack.
PK, you are the king of morning radio. I just wanted to say that too.
Thank
I
you.
didn't hear you. What'd you say, Brady?
You're the king of morning radio.
Who is?
You are, PK.
All right. That's enough of that. Tim, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week.
See you guys.
All right. He's Tim LaComb. You hear him on Jazz broadcast analyst for SEG Media. The Jazz are playing the Wizards in Washington tonight. Odd that the Jazz and Mammoth are switching towns. They were just in Philly and Washington, and now they're in Washington and Philly.
I mean, that is like the Lincoln Kennedy freakiness.
Yeah, it really is. It's the same thing. It's exactly, yeah. That's exactly
I mean, not
it.
Lincoln Kennedy, the guy we used to have on. I'm talking about John and Abe.
Yes.
Right, okay.
All right, DJ and PK, stay with us right here on The Zone.